Good evening, gentlemen. I know there is lack of diversity on the table here, so before anybody complains, let me acknowledge it. We did have someone, somebody couldn't join us in the panel today. But I've been warned that we have a limited time because I think the previous session was so fascinating that we didn't see time taking away. So I'm going to start with you, Vicky, and I think a lot was spoken this morning, this evening, and the discussion was actually about skills. And I have a very interesting question for you. Look, we're talking about skills that we had in the last 75 years. Are going to be, the need that we're going to have for the next 25 is going to be quite different from what we had in the last 75 years. So if you were to actually give a point of view on what education means in that context for the next 25 years particularly, what would that be?
So before I answer that, firstly thank you for having me here. It's been a fantastic, fascinating evening. I think I wouldn't have missed it for anything. And each time I talk to someone in e-vidyaloka or meet them, I feel truly inspired. So I'm really, really happy to be here. And I think usually when I'm in panels like this, I take notes based on what speakers say. But today I gave up within the first 20 minutes because there were so many big sort of things being said. I realized that there's no point in making notes and speaking. So that's the first bit. So thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Ravi and I go back a long time. Chance to meet some old friends. And so it's been an absolute fantastic evening. So firstly, I want to echo that little girl Anjum who said education is a weapon that can be used to change the world. So I think that, to my mind, encapsulates everything, whether it is Bharat at 100 or World at 100 or whatever you say. I think we need to realize that the key to opening the doors for an empowered India is with you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job of doing it. So even better than educating and empowering children, I think if we could just say education to empower children, instead of that we say just empower children to dream, I think we would have created a fantastic ground for the next 20-25 years. So just empower children to dream. And I remember the video that I think Mr. Virmani played where that little boy said that I am capable, I am smart, and I think I can do this. I think if we can have every child in the country say that with confidence and demonstrate the confidence that these 20 kids have and they came on the stage, I think we would have done a lot. Now to come to your question on the, how are skills going to change? See, first thing is, you need to make education accessible to everybody. And accessibility is one, you guys have solved it beautifully. The television makes it reach everywhere, and everyone likes to watch TV. So, 3 crore viewership number that you mentioned, I'm not amazed at all. And I think someone mentioned it was even higher than what Prime Minister Modi usually gets. So I think congratulations for getting there. So it's beautiful. So there are 3 things to my mind which will make an empowered, educated India: accessibility, and accessibility. So I think if we can make education accessible multiple ways, make sure it's available. I'm reminded of Ravi's story of how he went into a village and he went into the classroom and there were 2 distinct groups. The front group was the so-called forward caste and the back group was, the untouchable. Tears were welling into my eyes when I said this. We have been sort of independent for 70 years. We need to change that. We need to make it available, education available for everyone on equitable platform. Right? If you do that, there are 2 or 3 things that I think the skills of future is going to be, and I will stop here. I think we will run out of time. So one is skill. The biggest skill is teaching them learning to learn. If you teach them learning to learn, any change that comes, they will become very adept and ready to pick that up. Be it AI, be it machine learning, whatever happens, if you can teach them how to learn new things, I think it will be fantastic. Maths, physics, reading, writing, we will teach them. I think the new education policy will take it over and and do that. But I think if we can focus on the curriculum that covers learning to learn, adaptability and learnability, fantastic. I think that will again be a big help in solving the issue. The second thing I think is creative and critical thinking. So I think critical thinking was spoken about a lot, but I think creative thinking of the type that we saw with these 20 boys and girls here, if we can get that in the curriculum, that will be fantastic. And how will we do that? For that, we need teachers who are just not imparting content. We need teachers who can actually impart awareness. Right? So another big thing that will help us get there is training our teachers to work with technology, the digital piece, whatever, to impart awareness. I really feel we have heard about gurukuls that ran in India, which gave wholesome education. These people who stayed with the gurus, learned about everything in life. I think that kind of teachers is what we need. So I think there are a whole breed of things which will change in the curriculum, in the way we teach, in the way we impart for India to get there.
Fabulous, fabulous. Learning to learn, I think that's a very powerful statement, and of course critical and creative thinking, and making sure the teachers are adapted so that we can actually get there. But you actually made a very powerful statement even before that, Vicky, and I'm going to take the question from there. When you talk about empowerment and you talk about empowerment to dream, I think that was very well said. And if I was to take that to you, Kishore, now empowerment by itself has various connotations, right? I mean, it's financial, it's social, it's cultural. So if you have to have a view on what a truly empowered India would be, how would you describe what is your view on empowerment?
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity. I think it was great hearing from everyone, and also especially inspiring to see the children and the way they demonstrated their capabilities. And coming from an organization whose mission is to empower each and every person in the planet to achieve more, I feel nothing better than to kind of get started. And I just want to kind of begin by requesting or maybe enabling an option for e-vidyaloka that in this year, please do brain program in northeastern Jammu and Kashmir so that you are empowered with what has been asked and what has been your goal. That's my kind request, and also I think that's the way I can begin here. And to come to the question, especially because nothing better than education, that's where we start. And already he has been emphasizing on it, each and every speaker here emphasized on it. For me, if you look at empowerment, being an organization, I would want to put it at 5 pillars and then say that with a basic common thread across all pillars, that's for me technological empowerment. So coming from an organization who is here to enable technology, innovation for everything. So let me say that we will have 5 pillars, but please do keep in mind that for all those pillars, there will be a base that is technology, and my future empowered generation should be using technology in all these pillars to kind of get themselves empowered. But then to begin with, the first pillar for me, like as you mentioned, it's economic empowerment. To go there, 2 things rightly said. 1, education, especially the right education. When I say right education, it encompasses all those aspects which were covered. The Infosys Foundation providing right infrastructure, or Microsoft asking you to build the capacity of teachers, or you providing teachers, the children, especially with the ability to kind of think about their careers and then kind of aspects of all this component, the right education that is accompanied with all the necessary things that can help you to reach your economic empowerment. Second piece is again the same pillar, skills. The right skills that can help you to land in your in-demand, industry demand, job opportunities, etc. I think that's my first pillar for me. Economic empowerment through right education and right skills. Then the second area for me is access. Again, it was mentioned earlier, it is mentioned everywhere. Enabling access to healthcare, employment, even education that is rightly needed. When I say enabling access, I also need to make sure that access is always taking care of this inclusion and all those diversion pieces also. It shouldn't be just access. People from diverse regions, people who are accessibility issues, like everyone should be taken care, and we should be able to kind of do it. Second for me. Third, definitely, I think it's not touched much, but then I wanted to emphasize, and Microsoft believes in it, especially enabling my future generation to be part of governance, where I would want them to have strong democratic institution, have transparent process, have accountable and equipped government officials that are available to make them succeed in their environment, and then last but not least, strong community organizations like e-vidyaloka. We would want them all to be empowered. Like what I always dream is non-profit sector should be a place where bright talent should come, like how currently people look at, say I would go to startups, I would go to say MNCs, I would go to Microsoft. I would want people should think that they should come to non-profit. Non-profit should be equipped to handle it. Unless that happens, this kind of change will take some time. I think without wasting much time, I will rush upon the remaining two areas. I think the remaining two for me definitely is one on sustainability, that is environment. Our children, our system, everyone should take care of that without pain, both from conservation point of view, even from the jobs that are getting created point of view, even on the climate, etc. And the last piece, which is very much critical also, is making sure the rich culture and heritage of the nation, my future generation should be taking care of it, they should be part of it, they should be kind of like, as it was told by starting very Viksit Bharat, like they should be making sure the art, culture and every aspect of the country is being promoted, they are being exchanged, and India should be kind of like, it is on the verge of it, like it is in the place of global integration where it wants to kind of integrate itself for other countries. So my future generation, if they are empowered in all these places, if they have capabilities for all of them, and if they leverage technology in achieving all of them and making it available, then that means my generation is really empowered, and our role as an organization is in that technology pillar to get this all happen. I can take another 6 hours also on trying to explain each pillar and the program, but in the interest of time, stopping here. Thank you.
No, it was so brilliant. So I was actually talking a little bit earlier with Rishi saying that the children who are standing here just 10 minutes back, they hopefully will actually be sitting there, not too far away from now, and actually be honestly within the spirit of what I just explained. So that's truly what we are seeking to do, and that takes me to you, Gopal. And I think I'm taking this question, and Kishore nicely laid out that anything you do and everything you do has to be laid on the foundation of technology. And you actually are spearheading, the whole concept of driving what called as digital public good, and to actually have something that is recognized to be in the top 10 global scale is no mean feat, right? So if you had to take your view on, if you want to share your view on how educating and empowering is being driven by this whole arrowhead called as digital public good, what would that be?
Thank you, Ram. And thanks to you, the team, for giving me the opportunity. It's a pleasure to share the stage with the panelists and share my perspective on this. So, I'm really humbled actually. Before I start answering your question, I think sitting across and seeing the children perform and the amount of learning, I actually spent time with the children before the session. I asked them who guided you, how much time did you spend, and maximum was about 3 months, 2 months. 3 months of impact by a remote mentor could have such a spectacular, performance you can see. I was just imagining, right? And throughout the year, engaging the children with the remote mentoring, and I think the results are out to be exponentially better. So, really impressed and inspired to be here. Coming back to the question on digital public goods, I think I just want to give a simple example of a lot of us are aware of infrastructure and public infrastructure. We have bridges, airports, roads. It's typically linked by a central agency, and then it's used for public usage. So the digital public good is no different. It's just that digital, right? It's done. Want to share some example for people to appreciate what it is, the scale. Right? India is pioneering in this space. If we take the Aadhaar, all of us have Aadhaar card right now, the Indian population. The unique identity project by India is one of the foremost foundational steps that they did in digital public infrastructure. And look what has led to. It led to UPI, it's leading to open skilling and ONDC, and it's leading to multiple use cases where it was built on this foundation. Right? That's the possibility of digital public infrastructure. Now coming to education, we are at a very, very critical point in the national building, right? And I think the education for the first time. I don't think it's ever, the teaching was always physical and reality is true, right? Formally, the policy release is very critical, I think that enable that. And also the government and all the partners are spending a lot of valuable assets of money and efforts towards building the last mile infrastructure, which is building classrooms, TV, internet connection. This is very essential for the foundation of digital teaching, right? So I think there's a lot of focus on the physical infrastructure. So I think thanks to his point, I think he's mentioning access and access is everything. So if you break down the education supply chain, infrastructure, access, quality teaching, then comes outcome and then employment and all that, right? It goes like that. Now if you lay it like that, the foundation of infrastructure is the right moment. I think government is spending, a lot of partners are spending. Digital access enablement, that's exactly what we are providing, right? To quality education. e-vidyaloka is exactly in the space where, it's leveraging the foundational infrastructure and providing quality education for more learning. So beautifully, I think the digital equitable access problem is getting solved by e-vidyaloka, and I think this is the promise of the future. Now, if you look at it, it's just not e-vidyaloka, right? We are able to make an impact. It's very impressive. We are able to reach 2 lakh children and we will grow continuously. But India has 300 million children. Okay? The problem is 300x bigger, right? And you have 1.5 million schools. We are able to reach 100,000 1 lakh. So I think the problem is much, much larger. So how do we solve the problem? This is exactly how digital public infrastructure come into play, right? So I think at e-vidyaloka have debated about this and we decided to make our own platform, our success story. I think there's a rich body of knowledge built over 12 years from 2011. Thank you, right? I think you pioneered the way and you learned a lot, and the body of knowledge is built into the platform. So early on, we decided to open source this and make it digital public. And that's when I joined the journey. I think it's been an amazing experience taking this story, taking the possibility and potential of this platform, and it is really gratifying that it is recognized as a digital public. So e-vidyaloka platform, the S2 Jupiter is served now, Sunbird serve, is a certified digital public good globally, right? Which is got a global recognition. And that's the first step. Now we are completing the future. So what is the next step? Now we need to enable many adopters, like eVidyaloka, many state governments, right? That's where scale comes. So we are looking at multiple states of India, right? Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, maybe we'll have soon, thanks to some of the work we are doing in the platform next year. And I think this will bring the scale. So all of those will adopt the eVidyaloka inspired platform, the serve. And you will have, state like UP, you will instantly have, not instantly, maybe in a year, you will have 15,000 schools. Right? What we have achieved in 12 years would be done in less than a year actually. Right? So that is the power of public infrastructure, and when many people adopt it and use it for scale. So I think the journey ahead is very, very interesting, and I think there's a lot to achieve. That is the possibility of digital public infrastructure. And making it open source is a big decision. And I would like to thank eVidyaloka for sponsoring and inspiring this.
Fabulous, Gopal. Thank you for that. Actually, Gopal made a statement, right? He said first, he was borrowing from Venki, and he said, boss, first is making sure you have accessibility, and then you have education, do all of that, that eventually leads to outcome. So I'm going to take pick of that, Gopal, and I'm going to go to you, Julia. So, your designation is all about impact, and he says outcome is ultimately, the last of the line. I don't know if that was, coincidental or otherwise, but if you have to pick for us, visualize 25 years from now, and we say, look, hey, remember, Ashok, we sat in this panel and you said, these are the two measures that I'm going to use that would truly measure what the impact that we are creating is going to be. And then we sit back here 25 years from now and say, how did we perform? What would you pick as those two specific impact measures?
Thank you so much, Ram, and thank you so much, eVidyaloka team, for having me here. I still remember RUBARU 2023 fresh in my mind, what all happened, and I think this RUBARU I'm going to remember for next 1 year. And I keep, asking Ravi when is the date for next RUBARU. Thank you so much. I think, going back again to the topic, it's about Bharat at 100, especially about how we kind of educate and empower our children. So I think split the measures that we can have in two parts. The first thing is education. I think already the panelists have highlighted how important it is to make education accessible. So the first metric that I want to share with you is about accessibility and quality. So accessibility in a country like India, there's a huge divide, there's a huge digital divide, and technology is something that most of Indians don't have access to still. So there's a lot of accessibility that we are trying to, we should solve. So coming up with metrics that can measure that, I think will play a very, very important role. And the second thing is quality education. So quality education, I also mean how good the curriculum is. I think NEP is doing a great job in addressing quality, education. But also how relevant the education is that the child is getting and how empowering the education is. So if we are able to measure, education through accessibility and quality, again under quality, high quality, accessibility, empowering and relevant, I think that would be great. And the second metric I wanted to share was about socio-economic mobility. I think end of the day, education kind of translates into socio-economic mobility, so it's very important to measure that aspect as well. So in a country like India where the socio-economic disparity is very, very high, I think we have a long way again to go there. So all of you, I think most of you will know that a small percentage of Indian population hold the majority percent of our wealth. So we have to get that somewhere where everybody has an equal share, everybody can be equal. So I think again education is going to play a very, very important role here. So if we are able to somehow measure this and see how we set a ground for any child at any remote part of India to grow up the socio-economic ladder, I think that would be great. So this is again a great metric to track.
Very interesting. Yeah. So you're talking about accessibility as the means, the input, quality is basically the output, and eventually resulting in an outcome that is actually a socio-economic impact. Very well put. Thank you, Ashit. I will take 5 minutes. So we're going to go into the last 5 minutes as I have been instructed. So I'm going to actually have a little bit of a, if you don't mind, rapid fire. And the same question to all the panelists here. Let's assume that you actually have the crystal ball with you and you're able to see through future and you are actually seeing Bharat 2047. What do you see? I'm starting with you, Vicky, and I'll go with others.
Okay, so we are in 2047. We are attending RUBARU 2047. How would it look? It will definitely be not in a room this size. It will probably be at the, big one football stadium or some stadium. Number 2, Durga, who will see written a beautiful look, is coming on stage and telling us about the last year. She doesn't say 1.89 children educated because enrollment is 100% in India. That number does not matter. What she tells us is the number of alumni from e-vidyaloka who are making an impact on the global stage, solving global problems, being empathetic, leading the community to a very, very different level as far as humanity goes. If we do this, we will be fantastic.
I thought we had some goals set by Amitabh Kant. You set some even taller targets. Yeah. Thank you, Vicky. Yes.
Okay. I think for the next 25 years, if you look at 25, I'm predicting it. So what India would be at that juncture would be one, it would be a nation which has effectively utilized technology, especially for all the innovation that it brings in each and every area that we aspire for. And if you can ask us cover technologies, especially AI for sure, and then green technologies, India is always, I think it's there. And additionally, I can also say space sector. I think these are the 3 areas where I feel there is good amount of so technological advancement in these areas and being a developed nation in this space is one for me. Second, it would have invested a lot on physical, digital and social infrastructure, trying to kind of bridge all those access issues and help the underserved. Number 2 for me. 3, nothing better than the reaping the demographic dividend that we have. So it should be and would be reaping the benefit of the dividend we have and try to kind of address all the societal challenges that are existing in the country and try to kind of even improve on it governance. And 4th, as always, I think being a leader, like it would be a global leader at that junction, trying to kind of integrate all the richness of what we have from culture, diversity, each piece into the, to say, global south or the countries which are with us, trying to kind of solve challenges for them also, especially in areas like education, or to say, malnutrition, etc. So that's where I look these 4 pillars for me, definitely.
You must be a pillar in every aspect you think, man. I love it. But you know what? I mean, I really admire the fact that it is not just about physical and digital, but also about creating a social infrastructure. I mean, very, very well said. Thank you, Vishnu. Go on.
Thanks, Ram, for giving me this ball. I pretty much when I see India is fully developed in all aspects, the Samaj, Sarkar and the Bazaar, right? In all aspects of it. And I think there I see clearly the e-vidyaloka model of where placed in the Samaj, right? In the societal development initiative. I think some of the benchmarks what we're setting in the models, I think that will be the shining star in guiding other aspiring organizations to do that. And most importantly, I think through all of this, our focus is on empowering. I think that's the core word I take, right? Empower society, empower children, empower everything. Right? So they have a choice to do what they want to do, and I think I see an empowered India. So much so that India has very rich knowledge system, content, and all of us know. I don't have to tell you that. So this will be it will be the reversal of trend where India will be setting the standards and frameworks globally in all aspects of be it technology, governance, markets, everywhere, right? There will be reverse education. That India will be teaching how markets work, how society should work, how things will develop, and we have so much to give. So that's not even a dream; it's already there. But I think getting to that platform is what I think they're all getting. So I clearly see that will be a top of the pyramid.
Vishnu Guru has yeah. Thank you, Gopal. Very well said. Ashok.
I think for me, yesterday when I was just going through this thing, I got goosebumps when I was thinking about India at 2047. I think India will be a country that is thriving and a country that's very, very prosperous. I can also put 4, things that we'll be doing really well at. I think the first thing is economically we'll be a powerhouse. We'll be doing really well in businesses, and globally I think we'll be a country that everybody will look up to. And the second thing is socially. We are a country with so much of diversity. I think with all the diversity we have, we'll be very, very united. We will create equal opportunities for all, and we'll be very, very inclusive. And the third thing, I think environmentally, the way India is facing all the environmental goals, I think we'll be one of the most environment-friendly countries in the world to live. And I think the fourth thing and the most proudest thing that I want to tell is, culturally, I don't think there's any other country in the world that has such strong culture like India. So I think culturally we'll be doing really, really well, and we'll be having a lot of soft influence on the world. So these are my 4 points, and India looks very, very well.
Thank you. Bharat Pune, Appreciate this. Thank you so much, dear panelists. I think it was a pleasure chatting with you.